The wage and hour laws are intended to protect the most vulnerable people in the workplace. People who make minimum wage are guaranteed that minimal hourly rate, plus overtime for any hours they work over 40 hours a week. What you'll see oftentimes is an employer who's looking to cut back on costs, and they'll do that on the backs of the employees. So instead of paying them the minimum wage, they'll give them a couple bucks less, or instead of paying them for overtime one week, they'll say you can take some time off next week. Sometimes you'll get an employer who pays people off the books to run to the table and gives them less and uses the threat of taxes being owed as leverage to prevent them from complaining about it. Or you'll get someone who has an immigration issue and the employer will hire them and pay them less than they're entitled to because they know that the person who's getting shorted won't complain out of fear. And it's all intended really to help the business, and it's done at the expense of these employees. So these wage and hour laws are really intended to protect the most vulnerable people in the workplace.
In the area of wage and hour law, there are two separate protections to employees for the state and city of New York. They're both at the federal level and at the state level. So what does this mean for the employee? Well, the employee has the right to go to their employer and let them know that they are not being paid the minimum wage or not being paid for their overtime work. And then it is the employer's obligation to look into it and pay them the appropriate amount for the specific time that is in question. The employees are protected in that whole conversation. Oftentimes people will call us and say, you know, I'm still working in the workplace, but I was working the day shift and now I'm working the night shift. They knew that I have childcare issues in the evening. So they're gonna go straight ahead and put me on the calendar. That's gonna make it very difficult for me to keep the job. And the employer thinks that I'm gonna quit. What should I do? You have protections in your workplace. So if you're being targeted for your complaints about how you're being paid or whether you're being paid or not being paid the minimum wage, you really do need to speak to experienced employment counsel as soon as possible.